I talk to a lot of really good athletes who have no idea why they're good, but they chew the same gum, they do the same routine, and what they've done is they're like, I have to do the same thing in order to have this outcome. And then they don't also know how to recreate that in the other aspects of their life. I know a lot of Olympic gold medalists who come back from the Olympics and they become depressed, horrible people with no drive, because it's like they haven't figured out how to take all of those things that made them successful and actually reapply them. I mean, I think that's the next step in all this sequence, right?
On a certain level, this is a conversation about passion and purpose. It's sort of, now, passion and purpose are phenomenal flow triggers because they focus attention, right? We pay more attention to those things that we believe in, right? Now, we mystify that stuff a lot. And this is, I think, what you see with returning athletes is, first of all, in that competitive environment, they had easy access to flow. So some of it is, there's a downside to flow. It's a big up followed by a big low. If you can't get back into flow all the time, you go through withdrawal. There's a dark side here, right? So that's part of it. The other thing is, I think people who have been incredibly passionate about one thing, I was an Olympic skier, I was whatever, like, they often find it's difficult to find something else they care that much about, and it's because they're misdiagnosing it. When they started out being a skier, they weren't crazy passionate about it. They were curious. Oh, let me try this, let me try this, and one curiosity led to the next, led to the next, led to the next, and over a period of time, by following those curiosities, it led to them to this thing that they're deeply passionate about, and obviously started producing a lot of flow along the way. So I think one of the things we're seeing with the athletes when they come back is they want something that's ready-made in their lives immediately that they can feel as passionate about as they did with their sport, forgetting the fact that they spent 20 years learning to be that passionate about their sport. And so that's one of the things. The other thing is, I often think that for athletes, and obviously I deal with a lot of extreme athletes who are getting older, having children, having families, and they don't want to risk their life for a living all the time. The easiest substitution, the one-to-one substitution, is creativity. When we link ideas together, you get a dopamine release, right? Pattern recognition. When we take a physical risk, you get a dopamine release. It's the same chemical. What's so great about action sports is you don't just take one risk, right? As you're going down the ski hill, you're taking dozens and dozens in a row, little tiny risks all the time, right? Creativity is the same way. If I'm improvising a song, I'm making connections over and over and over. If I'm writing, right, new ideas are popping up and I'm following them out, and they're popping up and they're following it. So it's this spiraling, right, that keeps the dopamine, creates a feedback loop of driving attention. It's a nice switch. So what we tell people always is, besides kind of trying to follow their curiosity out, if you're stuck, get a creative hobby. Doesn't matter what it is, right? Start painting watercolors, start gardening. Who cares? What you want is the flow that you're going to get underneath it, because it's going to lead someplace else interesting, just like the flow you got in your early days as an athlete led someplace else that's interesting. You can trust the flow state as, like, it will lead you further, right, into a more interesting life, into something that you're deeply passionate about, that you'll find as fulfilling as you did your athletic career. You just can't be impatient for it, right? You got to realize that career took 20 years to build. Right.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.